Hello and welcome to episode 62 of the Ski Instructor Podcast. My name's Dave Burrows and I'm the director and owner of Snow Pro Ski School based here in Val d'Illiers in Switzerland. I hope you are all doing well. Hello from a fairly sunny Val d'Illiers. The snow's been good here since basically the start of March. We've had another really weird season. Insofar as from about mid-Jan all the way through to the end of Feb, it was basically high pressure and blue skies, which is not an unusual thing here in this little weather system where we exist between Mont Blanc and the Lake Geneva. That's often the way it goes during the season, and it comes and goes kind of as it wants to go. But it doesn't take long, for rumours to get around that there is like no snow, and that's just not been the case all season. But there are certain lower lying resorts around in the region that really haven't opened this summer. But anything above about 1,500 metres has been absolutely fine. We just get a little bit tired of skiing ice and slush for pretty much what feels like the whole of the season. But it snowed a lot recently and the temperatures have dropped again, which is really cool. So we're getting that sort of second part of winter that we normally get. And the conditions were great when I went up there yesterday, day before, whatever it was. And last week we headed over to Pilo in Italy for a team day out, and the snow over there was magnificent. Those guys are pretty much, I'd say, apart from the chaos at the ticket office down the bottom in the morning, but even that wasn't so bad. The skiing in Italy is magnificent. There's no one on the piste. The coffee's great, food's great, everyone's having a lovely time, pistes are in great condition. That's where it's at. That's for sure. And we had a very, very nice team day out there, so that was really, really cool. One of the bigger regrets of all of the previous 61 episodes of the Ski Instructor Podcast is that I've got a really bad audio on the Tom Gellie original interview, which was like back in episode 10 or something like that. There was like a glitch in the audio and it just didn't go very well. And anyway, long story short is that I wanted to kind of write that or put that right as such. So here we are. So I had another conversation with Tom. Tom's kind of moved on a little bit in his life. When I was speaking to him before, he was doing some sort of body physio kind of stuff, helping people with their kind of movement patterns, and was also kind of a bit of a jobbing ski instructor, demo team member, all that stuff, and sort of instructor trainer, all of that kind of thing. But what he's kind of transitioned to now is basically as an online ski coach. So he runs Big Picture Skiing, and Big Picture Skiing is essentially that. It's like online skiing tuition, and he works with kind of students and puts out media, runs his own podcast, got loads of cool guests on that as well. So he's really doing pretty much something completely innovative in the world of skiing that isn't like traditional ski school. And it seems to be working very well for him. And I really, really like the model of what he's doing with Big Picture Skiing. So I wanted to get kind of an update from him. And what we did with this podcast is, so this initial first episode was recorded in June 2023. So almost, well, not a year ago, but getting on for kind of 8 months ago. And it's part of a 2-part series. So the second one I did in November of this year, and in between it was the Southern Hemisphere winter. So we've kind of got the back end of. So in this first episode, we've got the back end of my last season, and just the kind of the pre part of his what would be our summer, but his winter from 2023. We talked on loads and loads of different subjects, talked mainly about kind of his business and how he's transitioned into what he's doing now. We talked about boots. Unfortunately, listeners, I'm really sorry about this, but I was still mega talking about telemark at that point. So there's more telemark chat, but not very long. And we talked about some other stuff to do with flow state and various other bits and pieces. So it was a super, super interesting chat. I really get on well with Tom. I love chatting to him. And I think this really, really comes through in the audio here. So I hope you're well. I hope wherever you are, the winter has treated you well. It's been all right here. We've had an absolutely booming winter, despite the kind of light snowfall that we've had. But everything's gone great. Very few cancellations. People have been enjoying themselves. Lovely suntans and all that sort of stuff. So all good. Enjoy this episode of the podcast, and I will catch you for part 2 of Tom, hopefully in a bit more of a timely manner. I'll release this one in early April. So yeah, see you soon, and enjoy the interview.
Yeah.
So what time?
Sounds good.
What time is it there with you?
It is just now 8:15 in the evening.
Oh, okay. So we're not catching you too late.
No, not too late.
Good. And how have you been? What's new?
Yeah, very good. I am very well. I now just do big picture skiing, which is, I don't know, I would say it's like an online ski school.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Yeah, that's what I do now. And I really enjoy it. I'm sort of taking on the challenge of trying to convey everything I know through video format and not be with people, which is good, because you got to get your SHIT together and not fluff on, and they can't talk back to you until you've produced a video, and then you get a comment and you go, oh darn it. So you almost have to like try and predict questions before they get asked. But no, I'm really, really enjoying that, and it opens up for me a lot of thinking about skiing and thinking about, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but why do people still struggle with certain things, even though it's well known, you do a certain movement to get the ski to do this, but why do still a lot of people not do it well and others do it well? Is it just because the description or whatever it is it's not right, or what are all the factors that could get in the way? And so I'm enjoying that.
I hope we get into that later, because I've got a few opinions about why the people who appear to pick it up naturally just like that, as to why that is. And I'm convinced a lot of them, we'll cover that later, but I'm convinced a lot of that has to do with the equipment that they're on, and they just got kind of lucky. And a lot of the time that you see people blocking equipment with equipment that's blocking their ability to move, entirely. We can cover that later on. I mean, one of the reasons that we talked about doing this is because it's one of the kind of regrets I have of the podcast that we recorded previously, is that even though we didn't know it at the time, the episode that we did with you, the audio didn't come out 100% correct, and I don't know why, but it did. So we're going to have a sort of another go at it, but also treat it as a bit of an update as to how things have moved on with you, because the last time that we spoke, you were just getting your online thing going, and then you were also kind of jetting off here, there and everywhere to teach on snow. So what's been the transition for you? Because like the last time we spoke, you were doing you were doing a blend of like skier specific movement, but you're also doing sort of body analysis and healing the body through relearning movement patterns and stuff like that. So how's that developed, and where have you got to these days?
Well, COVID stopped me from doing the physical stuff, like seeing people in person for a while, and so that's really that was what triggered me going more into the online stuff, because I couldn't travel. I mean, you probably heard Australians were locked down pretty hard
at least you weren't in Victoria, I think, is the thing you got to be happy about. But yeah, it wasn't easy over there, right?
Yeah. So that was a seriously frustrating time, but actually I see it as a blessing, because I feel like I made the most of it and realised how much you could get done without actually being on snow.
Yeah.
Which was really surprising to me. And people were interested in hearing my thoughts. And so now, I don't do much in-person skiing with people. I'm running a few camps in Thredbo, Australia this season, but it's a total of like 7 days. That's all. I'll be like really skiing with people. I'm doing some instructor training. So I like to keep my hands in the game there and help out other instructors in the resort that sort of I really, was spent a lot of time at, which was Thredbo.
Yeah.
So I do that. But yeah, I'm now have to be a businessman, I guess.
Yeah.
Which has been, a lot of learning, like, marketing, video editing, tax, just all the stuff that comes with that.
Yeah.
But it's fun because I was really away from all that. When when you work for a ski school, and especially the younger time, like a ski instructor is a great job.
Yeah.
You kind of just turn up, do your stuff, go home, and you get some good clients and you get looked after. Life's pretty good, but you sort of don't really learn some responsibility in some ways.
Yeah.
And so now the son, I think so. Yeah, I would have had Archie when we last spoke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That definitely motivates you to be a provider and really think about other than yourself. You think about other people.
Yeah.
But I love it. I mean, I was in America. I was in Utah for just about 2 weeks, and they've had one of the best seasons ever. I was over there filming content, and that was awesome. And then I went to Quebec for the first time ever, the east coast of Canada. I've always wanted to go there, so I went there for an event run by this guy Warren Jobbett.
Oh, cool! He's on my list.
Yeah, Canadian.
I need to get together with Warren, and I need to speak to him on the basis of the podcast that you did with him. I was like, that is a guy I need to speak to.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
So he ran this really cool event that he called the Ultimate Ski Congress, and he got people like Manny Osborne Parody, who
I saw that,
was Olympian, and then some other names. Benny Walk was meant to come out, but something happened literally like the day I arrived. They're like, Benny's not coming.
Oh no.
Anyway, we had this really cool list of people, and but it turned out to be amazing. It was a great event. It was cool to see the east coast of Canada and hang out with all these like Jonathan Ballou and these other great ski minds. And in the evenings we'd chat, and you end up finding out everyone's like thinking about the same sorts of things, just slightly from a little bit of a different angle.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it's what's interesting there is it's like current thoughts. So like Dave, you probably think back 2 years ago when you were skiing, you're probably like really into some particular part of the turn or whatever, or a type of, you know what I mean? Like, and so the funny thing is, a lot of us on this camp were all thinking about like alignment at a particular part of the turn, the top of the turn. And we all kind of came there and we're like, that's really important, and it's helping this, and we're helping others with that, and they don't get it usually. But even though we hadn't communicated about it, there's different minds really thinking about this one area. Yeah, so that was kind of fascinating to find. I reckon there's some kind of weird thing in the world where, I don't know, telekinesis or something, something kind of like triggers global thought changes. Yeah.
Well,
anyway, that was interesting.
I don't want to go too out there on this, but there is that is a thing, and you should look up something to do with the manufacturers. Where did I hear this now? I heard it on a podcast somewhere, and it's something so for example, the makers of rat poison, right?
I know this. That's right. I was trying to think because I know it's not. It's not just. It is.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
In different parts of the world, people were probably bridging on like how to create the recipe for rat poison. Then like someone else was creating it, and then literally almost within days or something, it's
Oh,
Is that right? Is that kind of...
No, it's actually more to do with the rats themselves. So what happens is, if you're a manufacturer of rat poison, you have to change the recipe of rat poison pretty frequently, because rats somehow... So let's say that you're a big multinational producer of rat poison, right? And you produce your rat poison, you roll it out in North America, say. Somehow the rats in Australia will pick up immunity to the latest recipe, even though they've never met, and there's no way that they can possibly know. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And so
this is what I'm talking about. There's something there, because I know that I think the example I'd heard of was other advances in technology at similar times around the world, even though these people, especially back in the day, we're talking hundreds of years ago, whatever, boom, these ideas come out at once. So there's something there, which is kind of cool to know there's things in the world that we just have no idea about.
There's definitely a connection, that we don't understand. There's loads that we don't understand, but that's a very real thing, and it's no surprise that if you've got, and especially in the modern age, because I'm guessing all of the ski nerds like us are looking at the same media, but there'll be a certain proportion of people that are looking at more media than other people and picking up certain threads from what they've seen. And it's no surprise that you all show up and be thinking about a similar thing. This will touch...
that was interesting.
It will touch to something I was talking to Derek about, which is do I dare use the word these days? But like you have, essentially, there has been a narrowing of the skis that people use, the tech that is in those skis, the boots that are people are skiing in. There's not a very wide variation of different designs and styles. And so I think you're seeing a sort of convergence of style based on what the equipment can do. That's been my thinking lately, is that there's only so many ways that you can skin a cat with a modern 130 race boot and a slalom ski, right? That's why all the videos that came out, the latest Interski, look more or less the same, right? There's a bit of stylistic difference, but everyone's skiing the same because they have to, because the equipment forces them into a certain movement pattern.
Totally. Totally.
And so
I was going to say
Go on.
I was going to say one thing while my train of thought was on Quebec.
Yeah, do it.
And I don't know if you've noticed this, but if I ever post a video of me skiing in Canada or somewhere, or America, Colorado, and there's good snow, there's always someone or several people who go, "Yeah, but I bet you can't do that on the ice out of the east." And so I was like, right
then,
I'm going out there. Right then. So guess what? First day in Quebec, it had rained previously, and it was hard. And they also hadn't had much snow at all. Utah had meters and meters, and they'd had under a meter for the whole season. And so it was hard. And you know what? Sure, it's firm, but it made me think. One thing I think people don't realize is, to ski on that sort of stuff, you need a really good, if you have a solid race ski with a plate and race boots and they're sharp, it's fine.
Yeah.
Even both, if you have half decent technique, it's fine. Better technique, it really helps, but it's the equipment part that just makes a massive difference. And every night I would sharpen my skis for the next day, and all the other coaches would do the same. All the candidates, probably not. Yeah. And so their skiing got worse over the 3 days. Our skiing stayed the same. And, and the conditions were as they are. So it just made me think, whenever people post about how to ski on ice and all that sort of stuff, I just think the big thing they're missing is understanding that if you really want to have a good time on that sort of stuff, you actually just have to get a burly, stiff, razor sharp race ski and really stiff, tight boots, so you eliminate all play, and it's actually quite fun then to do it.
Yeah, I changed my boot this year from a Head Raptor, which I used to think fit pretty well, and then I went to see another guy. Like, it was just an experiment, but it turned out to be quite beneficial in the end. So I ended up in a Lang RS World Cup, whatever it is, the blue one that all the racers use. I can't remember what flex it is. I think it's the B flex, so it's not a proper one, but it's
they use a leather, don't they? It's
yeah. And I couldn't believe. I thought I had the fit, and turns out I didn't have the fit. And now it's ridiculous. You only need to think. You just point. It's as simple as pointing your feet where you want to go. They're so precise. They took a lot of work. It took me 4 trips back to Stefano to get them right. And I wouldn't want to wear them. I wouldn't necessarily want to snowplow in them all day, right? Like, I wouldn't want to be teaching beginners in them necessarily. But once you get a boot with a fit like that, you kind of want to ski it all the time because it's so good. You wouldn't want to go to a touring boot or something because you'd be like, well, you know, it's going to be rubbish on my way home, you know?
Yeah.
After I've done all the beginner stuff. So it's a bit of a compromise, and then you pair that up. I haven't quite found the right ski to pair it up with, but I paired it up with a heavy one of my old GS skis, 25 meter GS ski. Oh my god, like, it's like being in a racing car, you know. Like, I'm not really good enough to ski that anymore. I'm a bit old and a bit injured, but the equipment makes a huge difference if you look after it.
Huge difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I think what happens with the sorry, we're on a bit of a delay, aren't we, you and I, because you're in Australia. But I think the difference is that when you're coming through as a candidate for exams, so at level 1 you don't know anything. You turn up on the boots you were always skiing in as a tourist, right? And then you go up through the levels, but you just don't know. And I mean, even I surprised myself this year because I thought I had a boot that fit me perfectly. And the only reason that I changed it, and we'll come to this later because I think you want to talk about boots as well, is the only reason I changed it is because Head changed the design of the Raptor. They changed the toe box and it ended up being half a size too big. And so I was like, well, okay, fine. Well, maybe now's the time to go and explore other boot options. And lo and behold, there's a Rossignol Pro Shop down the road from me. Went in there. Turns out the guy who fits it is the guy who fits Didier Defargo's boots, right? Always has done. And it's just like a miracle. It's absolutely so easy to ski. I've really discovered something about that this year. And it's if you can lever yourself into a serious pro boot, you'll be amazed how easy it is.
Yes, because believe it or not, it's the first time this year I also went into a real proper plug boot. I'd always been in boots that were sort of like, maybe the last was like a 98 millimeter last, but you know, like the proper plug boots they're like 92, 93.
Yeah, that's right.
This boot was just brutal to put on, but it's meant to be ground and stretched and really shaped to your foot, and it starts small so you go out. And I'm really a big believer, and I think, you know, if you're really into your skiing, that's a really worthwhile investment, as you and I are both sort of explaining. I mean, the how much more ease I had, especially with speed and tougher snow. That's where it really sort of shined, I think, and really made the difference. I mean, finally, the other stuff you learn a lot of good stuff from not having a boot that is just basically like instant movement with your foot. Yeah. Because you just learn you get to feel it, because, you know, as you said, you just go, it's easy, guys, just turn this way, just put it on the edge. And then all these other people are not in the same shoes as you. No. And they're like, man, this guy's like so good, and I suck. And but part of it is the equipment. Yeah. It's true. It reminds me of seeing like Nicholas Colombi is an Italian ski demonstrator. I think he raced for a while. Like amazing technique, like beautiful turns, and has that classic Italian really snappy short turn sort of thing. And you can see he's in these atomic, probably 150, maybe even stiffer boots and a race ski. And the thing just reacts so well because it's locked to his leg. He can't really get out of balance as easily. And, he's got to be strong, and he's obviously very precise and everything. But that's a huge thing, and be able to make really, like those turns you see on Instagram, people really, and World Cup races. A lot of it is the equipment makes it possible.
I think you're right. And the other thing I noticed with these boots compared to the Raptor was, one, it's just how much power you can put through it. Like it's instant, and it's much more powerful than trying to put that same amount of power through the Raptor. It flexes in a different way as well. And then the other one was what was the other one? The other one is it seems to be cut slightly shorter in the cuff, not by very much when you put them side by side, but it makes all the difference. There's less material around the cuff in general, and it seems to allow for a better flex of the ankle.
Can I ask, do you find yours, you don't find it that difficult to flex your new...
No, not at all.
No.
They flex better.
That's what I found.
They flex
I found
better.
mine too.
Yeah, they flex more progressively as well.
Yeah. But laterally, really solid, no play this way, but the flexion in the ankle. And I think even the angles that they set those boots up are better. Like they set you up. I was talking to someone, I think it was Deb Armstrong, I was saying, I think the boot industry's trended a little bit towards too uprighter boots lately, like your intermediate advanced boots. So people are skiing around trying to flex their ankles, but the boots just don't have the right amount of forward lean to really even just be there. So it's too much work. And I think they were like trying to make it more easier for people, like less quad burn by standing them upright more.
Maybe.
But they're just skiing. People don't ski as well.
No, they don't. Well, there's two things that come from that point. So one is I do need to stand up a little taller, but and that Lang RS boot is quite a heavy forward flexing boot, so it doesn't necessarily suit me. It puts a bit of pressure on my lower back, but frankly, I can just do what Peter Kuehl told me ages ago, which was just stand up, right? Stand up taller, be stronger. And so that's something I'd need to work on in for my alpine skiing for next year, for sure.
Hey, question. Do you still have the spoiler in the back of those boots?
I took it out.
Oh, yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah. Because I find those ones, that's one thing. Because I think people get confused. Like the forward lean part is more dictated by the front cuff angle, not the back one. The back one is just your backstop, how much you can straighten the tibia. So if you have that front one set up right, but then don't have the back rammed up against you, like with a spoiler, then I find I can get my tibia and my whole leg a bit it's like straight enough to get a longer leg. And
I think also probably so then what I would need to do to sort of solve that a little bit more, which is something that Phil Brown does, and we talk about it often, is that whatever my next ski is going to be, I need to make sure that I've got like a 2mm riser under the toe binding, and that will probably create the effect of keeping me standing higher, which allows me to open up. You can't see this, listener, but we're doing stuff with our hands to do with joints. If you put a toe riser under there, normally it depends on the maker of the ski, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, and we've talked about this before, I think on text, is that 10mm forward and 2mm up at the front is kind of a default setting for me on an Austrian ski. As I understand it, on a French manufactured ski, so if you're on Rossignol, Dynastar, whatever, you might not want to go forward 10mm, because as I understand it, they're mounted a little bit further centrally towards the front, but that would be something to investigate. But the other thing that I've noticed with the boots is often you've probably seen that kid boot as well, the one that's got like that they hire out to children, that's got like almost like a 90-degree angle. It's like a Salomon boot or something like that. It's got a buckle that goes over the ankle joint like that, one at the front and one at the top. It just keeps the kids in the back seat all the time, they can't get off their heels because the boot is too straight, and you see it in adults as well. And you're like, well, and I'll just send parents back to the shop, and I'll say to them, look, that boot is not helping your kid to get better, so you need to go back and ask them for a boot with a proper bit of forward lean. Now, you've obviously got to offset that against the fact that kids' weight is naturally a little bit backwards because of how they develop sort of as they go through the ages, but still they need a little bit of help. You can't sort of keep them on there. You can't expect them to be making parallel turns and progress if you're keeping them on their heels. They're going to be stuck in a spot forever, right? So
being able to have that ankle flexion and things not getting in the way of the equipment, it's key.
Yeah, it is key. It is key. Yeah. So anyway, in short, but so you were in Quebec skiing on the ice. Not so different. I mean,
was
if I think
quite enjoying it because the snow out west, it just kept snowing every day in Utah. So it's like 10 centimeters, 30 centimeters, 50 centimeters. So I was enjoying it because I love ripping turns, and I love skiing powder as well. But I think if you had to, like Tom, for the rest of life, you can either do one or the other, like perfect groomers all your life or just perfect powder. I'd probably actually choose the groomers just because I just like the force and that carving feeling. Anyway, so I enjoyed it out east, met a lot of really lovely people. Warren ran a really good congress, and we'll do another one. There'll be one in Sun Peaks as well next year, so I'll go and do that one.
That's great.
Then I came back to Utah, and I went to Montana for the first time, and that was cool.
Really?
Yellowstone.
No. Yeah. The big wilderness.
Did you watch that show?
Yeah.
So ever since I've seen that, I was like, I want to go to Montana. So a friend invited me out to Whitefish, and that was really cool. What a great town Whitefish is, and a really cool ski resort. Although don't go there if you like the sun, because the sun just doesn't ever shine. Like ever.
Is it like flat light all the time? Because that I'm not interested in that. Flat light is like my nemesis.
Yeah, definitely flat light a lot of the time. I mean, there's a couple of days or mornings, I should say, or times a day where it was like really not that great. But a lot of the time it was good enough that you could still ski and empty runs and really fun terrain. So really enjoyed that.
Did you do all this
came
in
back to Australia
one big trip?
Sorry?
Did you do this all in one big trip? Or have you been flying backwards and forwards?
That was one big trip. So that was basically just before New Year's. My family and I, so my wife and my son Archie and I, we flew over.
That's how you did it. Because I was thinking you went on your own. I'm like, how on earth has he got away with that?
No, I wouldn't get away with it. So, but then we came back home to Australia, and I really enjoyed being back because we were right in the middle of summer, and I'm really into surfing. So I got back in the water and did some surfing, and then went to Canada again to film some more content for big picture skiing, and spent it mostly around Sun Peaks and Silver Star, which I love. Yeah. Got great snow conditions, and that was my season. So I got about 6 weeks of skiing this year, and then we're getting maybe 3 weeks away now from the Aussie season opening.
That's really cool. Oh, of course, because you are in the middle of your summer holidays at Christmas, aren't you?
Yep.
Aha, that's how you're doing it. I'm thinking 6 weeks. You must be like, is your little one at school now? Like in the...
He just started.
Okay, because then you like really get hemmed in by the summer holidays.
Yep. Exactly.
This is something that's come into our life in the last 2 years. It's like we used to just go on holiday whenever we wanted, but now you're in the system. And we've got to have like a planner on the fridge, right? Like you've got to put in the dates and stuff and all this stuff. Oh my God. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, tell me about it.
It's we're doing, so grown up.
He's entering in Australia, you have this thing called interschools.
Okay.
And it's basically It's actually, I think, one of the biggest ski racing programs in the world. Like, I'm talking like thousands of kids ski race, and from really like basically just getting out of a snowplow,
right,
to like competing in the Whistler Cup and really good kids. But yeah, it's this great event or series of events that happens, and schools enter.
Yeah.
So he's in his little school, and there's like 2 other kindergarten kids that are gonna do it, and there's like a year 3 team, year 4, year 6 team, whatever, and we'll go down and do a few races, and there's like a regional event, and then if your team are in the top 5 schools or whatever in that, then you get through to the state event, and then if you get through that is as a national event. But I said back when I was an instructor, because I used to teach kids that would be coming along, like, I've skied 3 weeks and I'm doing the race, and you're there trying to get them to edge.
Yeah.
It's like, when I'm a dad, I'm never ever doing this with my son or daughter. And here I am. Yep, I'll do it. We'll put Archie in. And so, I'll be there. One of those parents on the sideline. Come on, what are you doing?
We've had to do that completely differently, because my daughter does not. She essentially wants to do, like, next year is the year when the ski club starts for her age group, and she doesn't want to do it. And it's quite important, like here in the village, like all the kids are in it, but she's absolutely not interested in it. What she wants to do is go skiing with me, have hot chocolates, and just ski about. And I'm like, well, I think I'm okay with that, because it might come, it might not. She might want to do something different, but the last thing I want to do is to push her into that. This is a guaranteed way to kind of make her not want to ski.
Guaranteed.
Right? So
yeah.
So I think we're going to keep the same. So last year there were 2 of them. They sort of made a little girls' club. It was really quite cool, actually. And we'd meet up. I knew the other dad, and we'd go up. We'd meet up for a hot chocolate and just bomb about the Porte du Soleil. It was pretty cool. And they were pretty confident by the end. It was going well. It was doing some good skiing. And
no wonder she doesn't want to do ski club.
It's not as fun, right?
You should have made it awful. You should have been, like.
Well, I still need to get her out this year, so I've still got. But anyway, the greater point was that when we came to the school skiing, it's quite interesting. So when we came, there was a day where they all went up. They went up for 3 days to ski in their classes. I was feeling pretty pleased with myself, because she was one of the better ones, and I was like, okay, well, we clearly, although she's not in ski club necessarily, she's clearly progressing and skiing pretty well. Even though we're not really doing anything formal, she's kind of just learning by bombing about the mountain, and I think that's a perfectly valid way of doing it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that develops. I'll keep you posted on it. But I'm pleased to hear that Archie's enjoying all that sort of stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, he is, and so while that's going okay, we're supporting it, and it means we can take him out of school too, because the school supports it, so we can get down there.
Excellent.
Which would be good. Hey, I was going to say, you said you started telemark skiing. What's going on there?
I've been doing it for quite a long time, but I've only really done loads of it in the last 2 seasons. We are going to talk about it, but I've been boring the listeners to death about it in the last few podcasts, so we'll I don't want to spam them with it, but I really, really enjoy the feeling of it, more so than alpine skiing, for the same reasons that we talked earlier about, which is about you can only make certain movement patterns given the equipment that you've got, especially alpine boots, which have limited permitted flex within
the
structure of the boot, right? So your ankles are essentially not locked, but you've got
a little bit of range in the ankle, and then that's kind of it, right?
That's front and back. So then you're doing the majority of the
telemark.
Work. Yeah, with telemark,
you can put the knee on the ski.
Yeah, if that's your style, depending on your style, right? And I think what's interesting to me is that it opens up a whole bunch of possibilities for freedom of movement and freedom of expression, and that is much, much, much more appealing to me than alpine skiing, which tends to be going into the direction of performance. It's all about performance, power, things we talked about, can you hold an edge on the ice, all that sort of stuff like that. That is no longer interesting to me anymore. I love to talk about skiing, otherwise we wouldn't be 50 however many episodes into the podcast, right? But I love to talk about teaching skiing and all that sort of stuff, but from a personal point of view, in terms of expressing myself on the mountain, I'm much more into the freedom of movement all over my body that telemark brings, because there's no real set way to do it, and there's no real set way, there's no prescriptive, there's no one telling you that certain things have to move in a certain way in order to get a certain outcome because of the equipment. And I really like that. So if you want to wave your arms around to get the turn going, you can, right? If you want to make a low telemark, you can. If you want to make a big one, or you want to stand up a little bit more and you want to do, Canadian versus Norwegian style, or you want to do it in a different way, and you're steering with different parts of your body as well. There's a lot more going on with the back foot, and I'm just discovering like that, the rear steering that you use with the thigh, and it just, to me, it feels better. Feels like a better way to get around, and so that's why I'm very, whenever I'm given the choice, given conditions, I'll pick up my telly stuff rather than alpine stuff these days. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because you grew up doing that, didn't you?
I grew up cross-country skiing.
Yeah.
So always had, I was used to having a free heel, and then got into telemark skiing. It was a snowboarder, and then got into telemark skiing when I saw a video of people doing flips and spins, and I went, whoa, this is cool. Like, because back when my dad showed me stuff, he's there doing kind of like a wedge in these really narrow cross-country skis, like a wedge telemark, and I'm like, on really shallow terrain. So seeing this stuff, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Got into it. But yeah, I get what you're saying about the freedom there. I definitely think for it's a really enjoyable sliding sport for feeling movement, for sure, that freedom of movement, not being so locked in, and I think you're referring to styles. There's more openness to create your own style that works for you and that you like the feeling of. And because it's not as, when a sport is more popularized, obviously people, it gets a pointy end of it where people really are pushing it to a limit, whereas telemarks sort of hasn't had that happen to it as much.
No.
And so people are less you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go any lower than this, and your feet shouldn't be any wider than that. So there's definitely a nice, there's sort of, an innocence or something in there of just it's just about getting around and having fun. But what's funny is because I went to Interski in 2011 as the Australian telemark skier.
Yeah. And
when I went there, I got frustrated by this very fact, because I thought I was going to Interski to see the pointy end of technical stuff. And at this point, I've been, skiing with Paul Lorenz and Riley McGlashan a lot, and seeing what they're doing on alpine skis. I'm like, can I do that on telemark? So I'm trying to get every bit of information about how to do performance telemark skiing and push the limits there. Went to Interski and found what we're talking about here is it's more, people are just interested in having fun, and there's the the Finns were doing we're all skiing with a massive long stick, 5 skiers holding one stick and doing a turn together, and then the Austrians and the Canadians are arguing the alpine people on the next slope about, no, you don't push on the front of the boot. Yes, you do. No, you don't. How do you get the shovel engaged? I don't know. And then all the telemarkers there holding hands and kind of stereotypical, but it frustrated me at the time. But hearing you talk about it now, it's quite refreshing, and I look back and go, you know what, I should have just chilled out and enjoyed it, because there is that side of it that's really really cool, really nice. So I get why
I think that might be one of the reasons I like it. I'm quite frustrated in life in general about the professionalization or the corporatization of everything. And by that I mean, so for example, I don't know, give an example. There is, when you watch, I was talking to someone about this the other night actually, who's just got a job with UEFA, with football, and he's going to be producing the, I don't know, European Cup or something, some event that's going to come up soon enough. I said to him, the thing is about football, and to a certain extent the ice hockey, so I've been watching the Stanley Cup finals, playoffs lately, it could be anywhere, right? Like the stadiums all look the same. All of the advertising around the pitch all looks the same. It's got a little maybe thing that tells you where you are, right? It might say, I don't know, London or something, or whatever. And the only thing that really changes is the uniforms that the players are playing in. All the teams play the same. That's the way it is in football, soccer. There isn't. Everything has been professionalised to the nth degree. You saw that in like baseball when they were doing that analysis of stats thing, and they find these players and stuff. Everything. And skiing's a little bit like that. In that there's only so many ways you can get a ski to turn, and the things that they're arguing about these days are like nothing, right? Because there's this kind of generic way that skiing works. And what I really like about telemark is the amateurism and the freedom of, like, there's no real way to do it. Like, you just do it. Do it however you want to do it. And some people look ugly doing it. Some people look good doing it. And no one really cares. And it's got that really nice vibe about it. Like you get on motorbikes when you're riding about, where they all wave at each other. And you see another telemarker on the slope. Like, hey, man, all right? And you stop and have a chat. It's pretty cool. Like, you don't get that in skiing. And so that's the kind of thing I'm seeking in life. It's something that isn't bloody corporate, like it drives me crazy. And, doing things for the sake of doing them or pleasure. And,
that makes me think of, I was going to tell you how I've been looking into flow state.
Yes.
Like looking at flow state. So there's this guy, Stephen Kotler, who's done a lot of research and writing and presenting on the topics. I've been listening to some of his stuff and reading a few books. But so that all important state where people, perform amazing things and really get into a whatever, performing a skill. Mm-hmm. A big factor of getting to that is novelty. So if novelty wears off in something, like you've been doing alpine skiing for as long as you can, and to get a breakthrough, Dave, you'd probably, it's right. Now it's time to strap on super G boards and just do everything, go fucking faster. Whereas you can go back to telemark and it's like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
Just edging with like my fit, like all this is novel and new again, and there's way more freedom. And so that's very stimulating to the brain. And so you get this, these chemicals released in the body, and you're really enjoying learning, and you're back there again in the really enjoyable stages of it. So it's easier for you to kind of get that happening. Yeah. So that's what it made me think of. It's like, right, yeah, just like someone now probably listening who's found alpine skiing a couple of years ago, and everything's, they still haven't made a really good carved turn yet. All the little things they get that novelty and sort of challenge, skill challenge he talks about. Like you have to be just pushing your skill sort of limit a little bit each time, and then that really triggers you to kind of go in more reflexive, intuitive states of movement.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just interesting. It could be part of another reason you're really just drawn to it. You're like, I want to just do this telemark. It just feels better.
There's definitely something in it about getting lost within it, because there is something in it that I used to get. You're absolutely right about that. Like I used to get with alpine skiing, especially in short turns, I could get myself really lost in the sensation of that sort of falling down the mountain sensation. Like you just sort of, your skis are chasing you and your body's falling straight down the hill. That I used to get lost in that sensation. Not that, I can still do that, but I now find that getting lost in the movement sensation more with telemark. You can really get lost in the movements because it's kind of so varied. And I suppose to a certain extent it happened to me, I think it was, I don't know, we did it last year, it was the year before. We did, I think I mentioned this before, but we did a snowboard day. We put all the skiers in the ski school on the snowboard, so we had like a free day for just come and learn the sequence of how we learn to snowboard and how it all works together. And I hadn't snowboarded for a long time before that, and that was really cool. I managed to hook up a couple of turns there, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like, novelty and something new and a new sensation, and it was really, really cool. So I'm not by any means done with the sensation of telemark by a long way. And you're right, there is something in that in terms of how you learn, which you definitely need to kind of get to that flow state, and you definitely need to kind of try different things, get off your regular pair of skis and go and ski a different pair of skis, take something else up there that gives you a different challenge,
that's what I think is kind of maybe it's something I'm trying to share with people listening or whatever it is, but just like you found this enjoyment, this love of going out and telemarking. I think there's probably people listening that maybe are losing a bit of that because they have lost some of the novelty factor in where they are with their alpine skiing. And you don't have to go telemark, you don't have to go snowboard, but trying to make something in that alpine skiing experience novel again is brilliant, because that's what gives you the kick and the buzz why you fell in love with it in the first place. It's like sliding and turning and gripping, all these like sensations. But often what people are not afraid to do is getting a little bit uncomfortable, because you get on telemark skis and after a long time of alpine you're like shivers, like the weight distribution, it's really not it's not your habit. But that's where you need to be. That's what he talks about, Stephen Kotler. You have to be, he talks about struggling. If you don't have a struggle at all with something that you're kind of like figuring out, you won't ever get into that flow state. And all these like extreme athletes, like people that do wingsuiting and freestyle skiing and all that sort of stuff, they're so addicted to it and they keep getting better because they keep pushing it. And they get the endorphins and everything from succeeding when they push the limits, and they just keep pushing because they're addicted to that novelty and that little bit of struggle to challenge their skills.
But haven't you been looking into this more? It's like you said to me, I think separately, that there's like a certain, like there's a percentage. You don't want to make it too hard, right? The next thing. Yeah. Is that something you've come to?
No, he talks about this. He talks about, because it's at some point in this book, it's called The Rise of Superman, by the way, if people are interested. He talks about this 4% sort of number that's or 4% of a challenge of your current sort of skill cap, I guess, that is all you need to be in to get that kind of like flow state triggered. Which is really interesting, because 4% sounds like not much. Most people are thinking, right, if I've got to challenge myself, probably 25, 50%, go a lot faster or whatever. But this comes, I think, from also, he talks about, it's not just sports, like, writers get it, musicians. I even find video editing at times, sometimes I'm just there, like, boom, 3 hours, bang, I figure out, I was talking to you, I got to like, if I make a video, I have to think of the questions people are probably going to ask on this topic before they get asked and answer them in the video. And then like sometimes I'm just, that'll be one. And it just happens. And it's because I'm just pushing kind of where I'm thinking on the subject just enough that my brain kind of starts really firing and looking elsewhere for ideas. It might be, hang on, check that website that you saw 3 months ago and people were commenting about this, or someone wrote an article about blah, blah. Like, you just, that's that 4% zone that seems to trigger this different state of mind that helps you learn fast. And it's fascinating, because if you kind of realize this stuff, anything becomes much quicker and easier to learn.
And achievable as well, right? Because I think that's one of the keys to setting good tasks when you're teaching on the mountain is you've got to make the tasks achievable. Otherwise, you put people off. There's no sense in going, well, do what you're doing now, but do it 20% higher. 20% higher is a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you do that again, but add in, 2 extra turns at the bottom of that, and see if you can just kind of push the little, and that compounding effect of just doing 4% a day or a week over the course of a season will be massive, right? It's enough to create some quite significant change, but you can't do that change in big chunks because it doesn't work like that. The more you know as you get older in life and you go through it and you face more challenges to get better, is that there's no quick fixes to anything. There's no magic bullets. Anyone who's telling you that is just selling you snake oil, right? It's all about hard work and just keeping at it. It's the same.
Yeah, and I think that novel thing, like, I reckon is really important. I like that word, because we all understand, like, when something's novel, you sort of get in that, like, sucked in, kind of forget about what's going on state. Like, oh, yeah, look at this leaf, I didn't realize it's furry and it's got this pattern that looks like a turtle shell. Like, that kind of novelty, you're really focused on one thing and your brain is able to block everything else out. That enables a learning state. And so I've really been, like, back into using a lot of drills with my ski teaching, from bring back to skiing, by the way, because drills help things can't become novel. So, the drills where your poles are behind your back and someone's not good at it, or lifting a ski at a particular part of a turn, or whatever it is, just making something novel, you suddenly, now the brain gets drawn into, feeling this, and that's a bit different and weird, rather than it being the same feedback coming in at the same part of the turn that is no different, and you have to ask your friend or your trainer, was that better? Like, you should not have to ask if it was better if you couldn't feel it. Like, novel things, like in your skiing, will feel different.
Yeah, for sure. It's an incredibly sensitive instrument, isn't it, your body? And you can feel much, much more than you think you're doing. My friend Ben always used to say that when I was trying to get better. I said to him, does that look different? He's like, it just looks the same. It takes a lot to change your body's movement patterns.
So much. That's
a lot. Years of work,
lot,
right?
Yeah,
years.
And that's why I think, like, drills, people avoid doing drills, but the people that do them, like, get better. Because now I teach, like, pretty much online. I have an online academy where I take on a certain amount of people every season, and every week we chat on Zoom like this, and I talk about a topic. Maybe it's a drill, and I explain it, and I just set them up, and then I get them out there doing it. And they send me videos of them doing it, and I'll go, no, like, you think you're lifting that ski, lift it 20% higher or whatever. Like, and then and then they get that 4% challenge to the skill happening. Practice that all week, and with these little tweaks to it, and then put it into their skiing. Lo and behold, it looks different, because with the video, I can track it. It's like, here's a video from last week. Here's a video now of your short turns. Yeah. Look, this part of the turn, you're doing something different. The drills, you just got to do them. And that's one thing that pisses me off about surfing, because I can't really do drills because every wave is different.
Oh, of course,
and there's all these better surfers that get all the waves, and I can't practice. Like, I'd love to get out there and just, like, I need to go to a wave pool. Like skiing, we're so lucky. You can just go, you can go indoors, you can just go to the bunny slope, repeat, do the novel drill, and you'll get better.
Yeah, no, that's true. The wave pools are amazing, aren't they? We've got one near us in Sion. It's like 140 francs an hour or something crazy.
Wow.
And it's booked out like 3 months in advance. You can't get in. Like, it is absolutely bananas. It's so busy, but it's such an amazing facility. Like, I don't surf, but I'll often stop there for a coffee when I'm riding past, and just to look at it, because it's so cool. You know, like,
really
it's just like waves coming, people just like doing what they do, and every now and then you get a really good person, and most people are just like falling in, you're drinking a nice coffee, sitting in the sun. It's so cool. It's really, really amazing thing. But they're all over now, aren't they?
Where is it?
It's in Sion, which is just like down the road from like Nenda and Verbier and all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And you look like if you were surfing that wave, you'd look up at snow-capped peaks.
Yeah, and like medieval castles and all that sort of stuff. It's amazing. The setting is really cool. It's really
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It is. There is, on a surfing note, there is. I don't surf, and I'm not. You know, I'm never going to surf. But there's a bloke on YouTube. You probably know it. I send it to Max all the time because Max surfs really well. And this guy called Ben Gravy, and he's like been on a mission all around the world, just like surfing weird waves. So he'll like surf like bores in rivers and like these tiny little waves that are. He was in like Antarctica or something, like surfing like the waves that come off from glacial.
Like crash, like ice chunks falling.
Mate, it's so cool. I'll send you this. I'll send you the link because it's fascinating. It really is. Like, he just travels around the world like searching for these weird waves, and he's made like a whole channel out of it. You know, really cool.
Yeah,
really cool. Tell me what we're talking about learning, because this is interesting. Because I think your 2 years must be at least 2 years since we last spoke. Like, so you've transferred now from, you know, Tom Ski Instructor and physical coach. Now you're running something that looks a bit more like a business. Your learning curve for that must have been quite steep, because there's an element of like selling your time for money, which is essentially what you're doing if you have a salaried job, or, you know, you're just a one-on-one coach. But then to take it at scale, like you've been doing with big picture skiing, is a whole different challenge, right?
Yes.
How has that been for you?
Well, now I'm just realising part of what was going on is that novelty 4% challenge all the time. You know,
it's like every day something new.
Yeah, and I just realised I had a bit of a moment this sort of winter where I went, whoa, this is maybe pushing my stress levels a little too much. Like, balance of work and life was just getting a bit skewed in a way I didn't like. And it's funny timing that this book of The Rise of Superman and almost finding this 4% number going, you know, that's all I need to be pushing myself to be kind of growing and learning. I've tried to now think about that and realize, looking back, I think at times I was successful because I would just try stuff pushing the 4% barrier. So yeah, whatever it was, a new online offering or something like this academy, you know, like I wonder how many people, you know, can I coach 25 people over the winter doing, you know, this amount of time, and it was, you know, not too far-fetched. And then, okay, I'll just push it a little bit beyond that. I think that's been a really good way to push it, like keeping it interesting. It's not the same old every time, and then looking at what can I do that broadens my skill set or pushes my skill set just that little bit further. Yeah. But it's really rewarding, I must say, having my own business that is more scalable. Yeah. Because I mean, I think everyone's searching for that, you know, being able to not just be paid for the time you're there one-on-one with someone. But in saying that, I basically stopped doing physical therapy stuff. I mean, I was full-time with that when I spoke to you. And I'd have to take time off that to go do ski stuff. But then now I barely do it at all. But saying that, I've just been seeing a few clients recently. It's been really, like, in person, really interesting. And I've realized I still enjoy that that part. I just enjoy trying to figure out problems. Like, there was a guy, they just had one of the surf WSL Challenger series, it's called. It's basically this competition series that people, fight for spots on the world tour.
Okay.
Right. So this American guy just won it like 2 days ago,
right,
here in Narrabeen. And through just a few people, I got sent one of the guys, a guy from Brazil, to come and see me, and he had some issues. And it was just fascinating, like, because what he thought was the main problem was this one foot that was sore, but going through his injury history, like, he had this old injury on the other foot that was, made that foot really crappy, and then he had this, like, back injury and all these things. So I just realized, like, that novelty of not knowing what's coming next, like, not having a recipe of, like, oh, if I just, like, massage this part of the foot and stretch this hip flexor, like, you'll all be good. Having problems that are always, like, don't know what it is. I got that. There's that novelty thing again. I found it really novel. Yeah. So then my brain is like, ooh, and, like, grabbing ideas from, I remember that from this book. And I remember one teacher telling me about, how this muscle, can twist things like that. Yeah. You know what I feel? I feel like this chat is all about, like, I think if people can find novelty in life, things are good. Because then you get flow state, which is really, you want to keep doing it. Yeah. So then,
it keeps you interested, doesn't it? I mean, we have, so from my perspective, we have we started the ski school up ages ago. And you're absolutely right. It's novelty while you build it initially. And then at some point, it exists in its own right. So it's not just you kind of pushing, trying to make things happen. It exists in its own right. And then you're like, okay. So then it sort of becomes, the way I regard it is like a machine, and you've got like a screwdriver, and if you tweak it a little bit here and there, it does certain things, but the machine does what it does. And then I've been looking into this quite a lot. So you've got, and I've read a couple of books that are interesting, but in most organisations, you end up with someone they call like a visionary and one who's called like an implementer. The visionary is like the creative person. The implementer is like the logical person who kind of makes things happen, I suppose. But the big ideas come from the creative person. And I suppose that's me with regards to this. I'm not very detail orientated. I can see opportunities and I can sort of imagine in my mind how we would do that. But in terms of actually getting the thing out of the door and happening, I need to employ someone for that. So I work with, my colleague Alicia, and she's brilliant at that. Like taking those things that I've said and just kind of putting them in a structured way. So once you've built something, then you've got to like look at, okay, well, what do I do next to keep myself interested? Because otherwise I'm going to be bored. And there's no novelty factor, right? We come back to the same thing. So, that's why we started up in different locations. That's why we started a snowboard school. That's why we've got, I've got a list up here of other stuff that I'd like to do. What I really like about what you're doing in terms of a scalability kind of thing, because the traditional way that you would scale a ski school, like a regular ski school, is to get a bunch of other instructors and they would work, and you kind of build it in that way and it ends up being a ski school. The trick is, I suppose, with that is to kind of keep it, keep hold of your core values and not lose the personalization that you have with the organization if you don't want to. But with what you're doing online, it's amazing, like really, really cool. And I'm quite jealous in a way that, because you've got something that in theory is only limited by the number of skiers on the planet. It's really cool. It's a really, really, really amazing opportunity if you can get it right. It's it's really cool, like combining what we do in the ski world with tech. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. I have realized though, like you soon realize that not everyone likes your stuff, and that's fine. Like,
all right. It's not about you, is it?
And like the way I say things, or the time, maybe I spend too much time talking about this side of things, but I've just learned that that's actually fine, and it's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not everyone likes the same kind of beer, the same kind of wine.
Yeah.
But there's luckily lots of people out there, and I would say, yeah, it's been really cool to just be okay with that. And stick with what is true to me. I guess what I'm saying here is, it can be at times I think I felt like, ooh, there's this great opportunity, and I'll go try and grab it.
Yeah.
But it sort of changed my style.
Yeah.
Back to that. Like I was trying to be maybe just please too many people.
Yeah.
And so I'm now feeling like I'm at this stage, working on the business again, like now the winter's over in the Northern Hemisphere, like going, right, I'm really going to make sure I do this the way I feel like I want to do it, and put my flavor on it. If some people like it, great. If others don't, that's fine too.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps me in that 4% zone, pretend to be other things and push it. It was just too much. And I've just seen too many like friends and people that I've met that get burnt out by a work life that is, they're just too stressful. I think stress is one of the biggest sort of diseases in the world today.
Yeah.
Causes too many problems. So yeah.
I hear that. I keep a document, you can't see it here, but I keep a document just here by my desk, which outlines what we as a company are all about, and like what the goals are and who our clients are, more importantly, and like what our product is essentially. And so that keeps me completely on track as to what it is that we sell, and that's it. And I don't go outside of that, because otherwise you end up like some of the bigger ski schools where you go onto their landing page and it's got like 25 options of things that they can sell you, and at that point you're becoming a little bit compromised. Like you've got away from the core of what it is that made you in the first place.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right in that some people won't like what you've got to offer. You'll be way too technical for some people, for sure. I know you. We spoke a lot, and that's fine.
Yep.
But there'll be a huge bunch of people that really, really like the stuff that you do, and you back it up with your own skiing, right? So it's fine. You just stick in your lane, and you do your thing, and you've got like a really nice niche that no one's competing with you against, and so it's great, right?
Yeah.
Great.
No, I'm enjoying it. Life is good in a lot of different areas. I'm pretty darn happy. I'm healthy, and so things are good. It's good to catch up with you.
Wow.
I had a question. I was wondering, like, in the last year, what stands out to you? One or two interviews you've done where you really came away kind of inspired?
It's one that I haven't,
Okay, there we go. You got one. Okay,
I've got one. I haven't released it yet. It's on my list of things to do this week, is to edit it. I've got an interview with a guy called Darren Turner, and Darren's a ski instructor, or was a ski instructor in where is it now? Serre Chevalier. Amazing, interesting career, but he created, I think it's like, I don't know, he created an app basically that sold millions of copies and or millions of downloads of that, and now he's moved on from skiing and moved on into something else in his life. So he's into videography and makes that kind of thing professional. But in terms of the interview that I did with him, and I'm just like 2 hours into, it's 2 hours 45, so it was a really long one. We sat in a hotel room in Italy and just chatted, and I haven't got on with anyone quite so well for ages, and sat there just like in awe of someone who's complete kind of maverick outsider. You know, I feel so much like synergy with that person to say, no, I'm just like you, you know, and I know that if you can do it, then I can do it too, right, in my own way. And it's something that I'm still struggling a little bit with, I think. Like, sometimes I'm sitting here in my office, kind of sitting here wondering if it's all real a little bit sometimes. I was invited the other day to speak to a bunch of business studies kids at one of the schools we work with, and I ended up, I don't know how I got to the subject, but I kind of ended up chatting to them about this exact subject. It's like, you know, we're quite a lot of years into this, company turns over a reasonable amount of money, and we've got a lot of repeat clients, right? We're clearly doing something right, yet there's a small remaining part of me, not too much, but a little bit, that still doesn't quite believe it's real, because I'm just a guy from London, right? I wasn't born in the Alps, and I wasn't, you know, I'm not...
start skiing, right? Ski instructors or something. Yeah, it's not skiing.
I did grow up in a race club and all that sort of stuff. And so you sort of, at some point, I'm going to walk through that door and believe it. It won't be long, but it's just, for me, it's quite an interesting thing internally. Because like, part of me still thinks that someone's going to come along, like an official or something, is going to come along and take it all away and say, no, you can't do that. Like, well, I am doing it. I've been doing it for quite a long time now. And so, I don't know, like, I just got a lot out of that interview with Darren that was just, you know, like, there's a guy who's really done it.
Yeah,
and he's just
so inspired you, like, you know, you can see it in yourself, you've done similar stuff, but there's in potential, like, if this guy's done that, but more, maybe you could do more. I think so. I feel that's like a really important thing, because I'm sure people listening to this podcast, there's instructors, younger instructors, and if I kind of flash back, 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, like, I was really trying to figure out how I'm going to support a family and, have a real job, and as they say in the ski instructor world. It's a big topic, and I think what you're pointing out there is so you can't let the biggest barrier is yourself. Yeah, no one is. There's no officials coming along to ever going, no, you can't. This Londoner can't run this thing. But you are like always making it up and saying, like, I'm like, I can't be this Aussie ski instructor when there's all these Austrians and Americans and Canadians and Italians who like been doing it and have it in their bloodline and all that sort of stuff. But actually, this is not. Yeah, that's a construct in my mind. So I think, people have just got to be aware, it's that voice, you've got to kind of stand up to it, and that's the one that's going to stop you pushing that 4%.
I think so. And especially, I wouldn't say I'm doing necessarily something innovative here. Like, I'm running a ski school, but what I'm trying to do is I'm taking an existing model, and I'm trying to do it better than it's ever been done before. And in the same way that you are, right? But we can only do that. Well, I can only do it. I can't speak for you, but I can only do that because of the perspective that was afforded to me by all the stuff that I've done previously, actually. Yeah. So I can come out here to the mountains, and all of the guys who kind of nominally I'm competing with didn't do what I did when I was younger. They haven't done the hard yards of having a stack of leads like there and just cold calling people for years on end, right? They haven't done all of that stuff. They don't understand about how to do digital marketing and building a structure that supports growth and all that sort of stuff like that. They don't know that because they either don't want to know it or because it's not the way that it's always been done.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean to say that you can't do it a different way.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's exactly what I see you doing. I think
that's
right?
a really, just that's so important to you don't always have to be coming up with new ideas. You don't have to be coming up with the next new gadget. You just look at services and products and just think, is this really the best way it could be done?
Yeah. Especially in the modern age, right? Because frankly, my dad does this when he comes out to visit me because he's sort of, he had his own business for 40 years or something like that. So he's always he loves to kind of dream and plot and come up with ideas. It's a similar way that I do, I suppose. That must be where I got it from. But the thing about it is that he'll come up with an idea and say, oh, I don't know, why don't you do this? I'm like, it's been done. That's been done a million times, right? That's the easiest thing ever. And I said to him, the thing is, these days, you can think of anything you like, and I guarantee you it's already been done. 100%. Like even the most obscure things that I've thought of, you Google it and it's there. Someone's come up with it already.
Yep.
Right? And so really the only opportunity available to you these days, certainly in skiing, if skiing's your thing, is to just improve on something that's already been built. And it won't be long, probably, till someone comes up with a rival thing to what you're doing. It won't be long at all, right? It'll be a year max. Because someone will be like, I could do that. No problems. And they'll come out with like a crapper version, but you're in like pole position because you were the first and you've got all this content already online, right? And it doesn't happen overnight, by the way. I know how long you've been working on this.
Yeah.
Like that phrase, it took me 10 years to become an overnight success. It's like, no, it did not happen just like that. I've been working my nuts off for years, to get to this point.
A lot of steps, a lot of things, go into, the unique offering, product, service, whatever you want to call it, that I've created. And then that would be the same for someone else, who will have another unique perspective, offering, service based on their own background and experiences.
Yeah. Would you be interested in doing a part 2 of this? Because I would love to talk to you about a bit more about like physics and a bit more about teleprogression and a couple of other bits.
Yeah.
And then we could just make this an extra long one, like a 2-part or something like that if you want.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Should we do that?
How long? Or do you want it?
No, don't do it. Don't do it because you'll be up all night.
Okay,
if you're anything like me.
It's true. It is 9:30.
That's fine. We can do. We've got all summer. Well, I've got all summer. That's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Hey, mate, that was awesome. So good. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Dave.
Have a good evening,
too,
and we'll set a date for the next one.
For round 2.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
See you soon. Bye.